Hello there, thanks for dropping in for another video of Parkour Theory. My name is Ching, and in this video we're going to talk about the runner vision or the urban vision. So let's dive right in. It's basically attaining the capability to see movements from common structures that lies around but is often overlooked as we go about our everyday lives. What is often perceived as a common bar or a rail for a ramp becomes the possibility for artistic expression of movement for a parkour practitioner, where the world is the canvas, you are the brush, and your movement, the paint, when combined together, creating a piece of art, the art of motion. The following is an example. The capability to see an array of movement is based on our exposure to possibilities. Given access of information in our day and age, we could easily have a visual example. Like after watching an action movie, played a video game, we could imagine a hero traversing a landscape, hence giving us a tentative idea of what might be possible, spurring our imagination. However, to be able to see yourself doing the moves you imagine will require training on your part, for your mind's eyes to be developed and have an idea how you look when you're moving. You see this manifest often clearly with children when shown a demonstration and then attempt to replicate. They can't recognize the difference in form unless being shown a third-person perspective of what they have done. Of course, it takes a while before what we visualize manifests in accordance that expectation versus reality. If you have begun parkour training, you will know that what appears easy when done by someone else isn't necessarily always the same for you, that it might take a while for your body to catch up to what you visualize. One method to start unlocking your urban vision is shadowing another runner, where you follow after their route or line. Or have your coach point out possibilities for you to try. Gradually, you will start seeing routes of your own, based on your own skill levels, capabilities, and comfort. Figuratively, you could follow a projection created in your mind, likened to the video game Mirror's Edge, where they have this shadow or ghost runner that you can chase after.
Because I'm just that nice to you guys.
Next, we're going to talk about our urban vision and how it has evolved collectively over the years with the growth of the sport. It might be a controversial topic, but I suspect that it might be a matter of time passed by now. We begin first with the gradual settlement of parkour sports. Watching parkour moves or similar on the big screen or the games that we play is definitely a common experience for everyone. Ultimately, there is a younger childlike self within us that beyond just being amazed, very much like to replicate the moves seen on display. To be a ninja, a Jedi, a super spy or hero, if not, at the very least, a capable protagonist in the story of our own lives. So off we go, off to try out in our games and challenges with our friends, and at older age, a hint of bravado with testosterone-filled ego. But it is in these experiments and experiences that we discover some moves, figure out some that is more effective, more efficient, or merely just more cool, with a touch of uselessness in them. But it's in these processes that we begin to learn. When we begin, we all have our favorite places to train. Usually, a few spots around our block or neighborhood are of sheer convenience, especially at the start, since we all start with basic techniques and conditioning. A new spot is discovered as we explore by walking and stumbling upon it due to a call of a jump that allow us to see some new possibility and challenges as it unfolds. However, the benefit of training constantly in a few spots does allow one to see that slow but gradual growth over the years. Often, just when we thought we have exhausted all possible training opportunities in the same spot, doing countless drills at the same space, returning to the same space after some time usually allow us to see it from a fresh perspective and rediscover some new possibilities. In some weird way, we are more keenly aware of the space than the actual owners of the space, being familiar with every crack, dent, moss, and dust. Gradually, some practitioners around the world, with the internet age and the coming of age, took upon themselves to undertake a pilgrimage to seek out what was showcased in what they had seen in the movie Yamakasi and what the other founders had showcased in YouTube videos, to see for themselves the iconic spots in which the founders have trained. It dawned upon the visitors the skill and the level of training that was put into achieving what was showcased in their short clips. It's one thing to train and mimic the moves in your own space, growing ever gradually, but quite another to train in the same space of what you have seen in the videos of the founders. One comes off with a better appreciation of what they have achieved, creating that sense of connectivity through a similar experience understood only by practitioners of the same discipline. I haven't had the opportunity to travel to France yet, with the Dame du Lac pretty much the mecca of parkour, but I did have the chance to train in the UK, the equivalent of Rome in Christendom, not quite like Israel in Jerusalem, but hey, what a privilege. The same can be said wherever locals in your area upload their clips, growing the community at large. And no doubt the loss of any of parkour sports hit our tender hearts as well. When the similar, if not higher level of skill is done in the same space, you can clearly see the ever-evolving nature of the sport and the higher levels of possibility undreamt of prior. With a common training sport, there is a shift in our perception for our urban vision collectively. The paradigm shift in mindset became more focused in doing more creative or higher skilled moves in a similar sport for recognition and a degree of gratification it delivers, more than an eye for the structures around the world. With the growth of parkour worldwide, there is gradually an awareness of the activity. This eventually gave rise to academies around the world, becoming a catalyst for further growth and a chance to educate the public what constitutes parkour, beyond the commonly seen high-level stunts achieved and displayed. Undoubtedly, a significant aspect translating that growth in the discipline, but not the whole of the sport, as parkour's growing a more acceptance with time and the works laid by the founders and succeeding generations of practitioners. City councils in various parts of the world eventually gave the opportunity for parkour parks. It nearly grew in junction alongside with parkour gyms, preceding or succeeding depending on where you are in the world. These parks became a place for practitioners to gather, further hone their skills, and a beacon for the new generation to be exposed to parkour. With a carve-out space specifically designed for parkour, whereas promoting the sport, given a designated space, that convenience does cause one to lose the need for exploration and discovery. Moreover, with the possibility for further enforcement to be caged in the space, it can effectively stifle urban vision, losing that messy but creative spark. However, these parkour parks liken to parkour sports, in that it's a perfect place to hone skills, create routes and lines within the space. Moreover, a place to gather the like-minded with a common shared experience. Given time, they will adapt the mindset for exploration, and there's a high possibility for practitioners to grow beyond its confines. As mentioned prior, before the wider spread knowledge of parkour and the brave ones who made it happen in each of their city, practitioners used to train in gymnastics gyms, especially and specifically for flips. Unless you happen to be in a school where such facilities is available where you are, which possibly means that you are either having really good grades or from a family that is slightly wealthier, you will need to source for a public gym. Even then, it wasn't really easy access. Usually you will need to be enrolled in the gymnastics program, which means that there's quite a bit of financial demands, not to mention the journeys can still be quite long. In my country, Singapore, open sessions where you didn't have to have a membership prior eventually happened, but personally, I wasn't exposed, hence was not really a part of it, as I was determined to build my own, like heroes and spies having their own hideout. Another one of those moments would be inspired by watching Yamakasi 2, or you'll be known in its various other names such as Bangkok Ninjas, where there is a scene, they had a gym in which they train and taught kids and they lived in it. Hence, in 2010, we had the A2 Funhouse, a once-a-week set-up space in Scape. Though eventually losing the space at the end of about 2012 and having outgrown that name as well, we eventually managed to strike out on our own in 2015 and managed to launch the Freerunners Lodge. Parkour gym specifically built for parkour. It can be really useful for one to pick up and pursue progression in a specific skill. With a safer and more controlled environment, one can expedite their growth. However, if training is done only in such space, then it will stunt one's growth and create a gradual disconnect from what parkour truly started out to be. That sense of freedom spawned out of the confinements from the urban concrete jungle. As such, I will advocate a healthy balance to train in both parkour gyms and outdoor sites, if time and personal commitments allow.
Prior trainings in 300 slope.
As mentioned prior in other parkour theory videos, a responsible practitioner should take the time to be familiar with the sport in which they like to train, like an athlete who inspects their equipment before, during, and after practice in their respective sport. The strength of the obstacle to be able to support the impact induced from a jump might not be the same a few moments later. As such, much care is needed for your own safety as well as to a degree of responsibility to the space that you are using which do not belong to you. It would be wise to avoid too isolated or sketchy places when training. You never know what accidents or trouble might happen. Hence, you will want to be able to reach for and to receive help should the occasion occur. Whereas having a lookout helps, crowded and high traffic spaces should be avoided as well so as not to disturb members of the public or put them in harm's way. Be wary of training near children, especially display of risky moves, as they might not have the sensibility and understanding that what is possible undertakes progressive and gradual training to achieve over a duration and period of time, hence mimicking and risk getting injured as a result. Finally, encountering people with reduced mobility, it would be wise to have compassion and tact to not unintentionally rub their disability in their faces. We should be mindful that we're ever just a step shy away from the possibility of being in their condition as well. Parkour is often likened to be urban ninjas. As such, we should take note to control our landing and interaction with our environment as silently and swiftly and as stealthily as possible. No matter where you train, make it a goal to leave no trace, to always clean up the spot, and if possible, leave it in a better position than when you came. It definitely helps shine a light for parkour as a creative force and not a destructive one. In closing, as we gradually train and improve our skills, the world around us will gradually unfold with possibilities and opportunities for movement. As we take some time to walk, breathe, instead of rushing from place to place. You only have to look around to be creative and find innumerable places to train. I hope what is covered gives you some insight to what it means for you to develop and grow your urban vision. Until the next class, train hard, train safe, and stay well.